The San Francisco 49ers didn't just show up to training camp. They sent a warning shot straight through the heart of the NFL, and make no mistake, this wasn't a quiet statement or some vague preseason hype. This was loud, this was clear, this was different. From the moment players began arriving, something felt off, in the best possible way. You could sense it in the air, that hunger, that focus, that refusal to coast on last year's success or live off potential. This team has flipped a switch, and if the rest of the league isn't paying attention, they better start now, because let's talk about who showed up and how they showed up. First off, Christian McCaffrey, day one, in uniform, on the field, no slow ramp up, no caution, just all gas, no brakes. Trent Williams, same thing, Fred Warner locked in. George Kittle present, energized, vocal. These aren't just role players or guys fighting for roster spots. These are the cornerstones, the veterans, the leaders. And they're not treating this like just another preseason. They're treating this like unfinished business, and that sets the tone for everyone else. But if you want the real jaw-dropper of day one, look no further than Jauan Jennings. Here's a guy entering a contract year. He could have easily done the whole Holden routine just like we saw with Brandon Ayuk last year. He could have stood on the sideline, gone through the motions, waited for the ink to dry on a new deal. But instead, he laced up. He danced through drills. He made plays. He acted like a guy who's already locked up, not someone fighting for a raise. And maybe that's because he knows something. Maybe there are quiet conversations behind closed doors. Or maybe, and this might be even better, he just genuinely loves being a 49er. He believes in this team. He trusts the process. And he's not about to let business get in the way of ball. What stood out even more was the way Jennings performed. Strong hands, sharp roots, and that physical edge that's always made him such a problem in contested situations. One rep in particular, a tough in-breaking route with tight coverage, reminded everyone why this guy matters. He's not flashy. He's not going to put up Tyreek Hill numbers, but he's a glue guy, a tone setter. And right now he's playing like a man who's going to force this front office's hand. Jennings wasn't alone. Demarcus Robinson came out swinging too. The receiver group, often a point of drama in Niners camps past, looked locked in from the start. No diva energy, no distractions, just guys putting in work. And that's what keeps coming back to me. This isn't the same energy as last year. This isn't the Super Bowl hangover kind of camp. This is a group that looks like it learned from the pain and is ready to write a new chapter. Even the rookies were dialed in. Ricky Pearsall, despite starting on the PUP list, was moving well, reportedly hitting max speed, according to GPS data. That's not just good news. That's great news for a team that needs young weapons ready to contribute. Kyle Shanahan himself said he'd be surprised if Pearsall wasn't back on the field by Sunday, which is right before the pads come on Monday. That timing couldn't be better, because once the pads are on, the tone shifts completely. That's when you separate camp heroes from real contributors. And speaking of separation, how about Alfred Collins? For the first time, we saw him take meaningful steps on the practice field, not just standing around in a jersey, actually moving, running drills, showing what he can do. And listen, this dude is a beast. He's massive, yet he moves with a kind of grace that defies logic. He's raw, sure. He's behind after missing the offseason program, but his upside through the roof. The 49ers need him, not in a year, not next season. Now, with the departure of Dre Greenlaw, yes, still tough to process, there's a vacuum of intensity on the defensive side. Collins can help fill that. He's not the same player, not even the same position, but he's got that edge, that twitch, that presence. By the way, the defensive line looks nasty. Nick Bosa doing Nick Bosa things. Mike Williams and Bryce Huff out there causing chaos. Add Collins into that mix and suddenly you've got a unit that might not just be good. It might be terrifying. And let's not forget, Bosa's not just leading with his play anymore. He's mentoring. Mike Williams was reportedly following him step for step, shadowing every move. And Bosa's embracing it. He talked about how seriously he takes the role of being a leader. How when he speaks it matters. Kyle Shanahan echoed that, saying Bosa hasn't changed who he is. Still the same even-keeled guy, but now he's using his voice more intentionally. That's how you build legacy. That's how you build culture. Culture. That word keeps coming up because it's everywhere in this camp. You can feel it. It's in the way veterans show up. It's in the way young guys attack drills. It's in the way Shanahan speaks about opportunity, saying as many as 6 defensive spots could be won by rookies. Not handed. Won. That means open competition. That means hunger. And that means this team isn't living in the past. Let's also give some shine to a couple other rookies, Jordan James and Jordan Watkins. According to those on the ground, they looked the part from the jump. No pads yet, sure, but they passed the eye test. Movement, confidence, energy. With Jacob Cowing potentially sidelined, Watkins especially becomes a key figure. And this isn't just plugging holes. This is what good teams do. They build depth. They prepare. They give opportunities for the next man up. And right now, the next men up look ready. Now let's dive into one of the most underappreciated storylines of camp so far, the kicker battle. It's easy to overlook, right? Not flashy, but crucial. And this year it's actually being treated with the weight it deserves. Jake Moody and Greg Joseph alternating kicks, not alternating days, but alternating reps. That's how you test guys. You make one, now your competitor has to make one. Pressure, real pressure. And both of them responded with perfection, going 4-4 for including long-range bombs. Look, Moody has draft capital behind him, which always helps, but this team isn't playing favorites. If Joseph proves to be more reliable, he could absolutely win the job. That's how it should be. That's what winning cultures do. They reward performance, not pedigree. Unfortunately, it wasn't all good news on day one. Jacob Cowing, who had arguably the most impressive offseason of any wide receiver, might have pulled a hamstring, and that stings. Shanahan sounded cautious, but realistic, hinting that the injury looked like a significant setback. And for a guy who was positioning himself to be a gadget weapon, maybe even a debilite in certain formations, this is brutal timing. It's a reminder that camp is a double-edged sword. For every breakout, there's a heartbreak. And this one hurts because Cowing had earned his shot. He had put in the work. He had flashed that elite speed, that quick-twitch movement that could have added a new layer to this offense. Now he's staring at the rehab table just 17 days before the preseason opener against Denver. And yeah, let's talk about that game real quick, because the clock is ticking. 17 days away. That's nothing. That's around the corner. So every practice rep counts. Every missed day matters. The 49ers are already dealing with a reduced roster because of PUP and NFI designations operating with closer to 82 guys than the full 90. That's thin. That's risky. And if Cowing's hamstring turns into a multi-week situation, the team might have no choice but to bring in outside help at wide receiver. Not ideal, not what anyone wants, but that's the reality. Still, despite the Cowing news, you can't help but walk away from this first day of camp feeling fired up. This isn't just optimism, this is foundation. You can build on what we're seeing. You can build around guys like McCaffrey, Trent Williams, Fred Warner, and yes, Jauan Jennings, who just sent a message without saying a word. I'm here. I'm bought in. I'm ready. And that's how you shift a culture. That's how you go from heartbreak in the playoffs to hoisting a trophy in February. It starts with a tone. And right now, the 49ers are playing a different tune than they have in recent years. Less drama, more unity, less talk, more action, less speculation, more execution. This is what a contender looks like in July. Not perfect, not polished, but present, determined, and locked in. Oh, chat this now that we've laid the foundation for what's happening at 49ers training camp. Let's get deeper into why this particular offseason feels like a storm brewing, a perfect storm that could explode into something special by the time the regular season arrives. Everything about this team feels elevated. The coaching staff is more deliberate. The veterans are more vocal. Even the young guys, many of whom weren't even on the roster last season, are acting like they belong. And that's not just lip service. It's showing up in real-time reps, effort, and the kind of chemistry you usually don't see this early. Take Jordan Watkins again, for example. The buzz isn't just camp noise. It's not people overhyping a guy because he made one nice catch. He's showing up consistently just like he did during Anas. There's something polished about the way he moves, the way he finishes, plays, the way he communicates with his quarterback. Coaches see it, teammates see it. And with the unfortunate injury to Jacob Cowing, there's a real path for Watkins to carve out a meaningful role early. Injuries suck, no doubt, but they also open doors, and in a league that never stops moving, sometimes that's all a guy needs, a single open door and the courage to step through it. Like he was meant to be there. That mentality is what's defining this version of the 49ers. You see it in every position group, even at quarterback where there's less drama than at any point in recent memory. Brock Purdy is healthy, confident, and commanding respect. He's not walking around like he's trying to prove he belongs. He knows he belongs. And when your starting quarterback exudes that kind of confidence, the ripple effect is powerful. He's not flashy, but he's sharp, decisive, and calm. The kind of guy who doesn't get to high or to low, and that matters in this league especially. In the chaos of late-season games when the margins are razor-thin, the defense it's beginning to look like it might be even more dangerous than last year. And that's saying something. Mike Williams shadowing Nick Bosa is symbolic of something bigger. That kind of mentorship, that direct owning-own development speaks volumes about the culture being built. It says that the veterans aren't protecting their spots, they're lifting the next wave. That's not the case on every team. Some vets keep secrets close hoping to hold off the competition. Not here, not with this group. And Kyle Shanahan knows it. He's giving open acknowledgement to the fact that multiple starting roles on defense could be taken by rookies. That's not coach speak. That's confidence in what he's seeing. And it's not just the coaching staff noticing this. Fans watching from the sidelines can feel it too. There's a different buzz, a different tone. The usual sense of hope you feel during a training camp is there. But it's mixed with a deeper sense of urgency, not desperation. Urgency, the kind that says we're not here to get in shape. We're here to get ready to win. Even when you look at something as routine as the special teams unit, the energy is different. The kicker battle might not be glamorous, but it's intense. Jake Moody versus Greg Joseph is the kind of healthy competition that pushes both players to elevate, and they're answering the call. Every rep, every kick, back and forth. Pressure situations being created in practice to simulate real games as much as possible. One guy hits from 50 yards, the next guy has to match it. That kind of tit-for-tat rhythm is how you find out who has the mental edge. And the fact that they're being rotated rep by rep shows how serious the staff is about making the right choice, not just the expected one. Elsewhere on the field, Alfred Collins continues to draw attention. Not just for his size, which is borderline unfair, but for his potential. He's still raw, still learning the scheme, still catching up after missing time, but you can't teach what he has. The combination of mass quickness and balance is rare. If he can put it all together, the 49ers might have a rotational piece that becomes a star by midseason. And that's the kind of thing that separates playoff teams from Super Bowl teams. Having guys who develop into major contributors by the time November rolls around, that's the dream. And Collins might just be one of those guys. Another name floating around with increased weight is Jordan James. The running back room is already deep, but he's doing all the little things right. From pass protection to special teams drills to ball security, he's checked every box so far. And he runs angry. That's not a technical term, but anyone who's watched him knows what it means. He hits the hole with intent. He finishes. Runs. He forces the defense to tackle him. He doesn't go down easy. That kind of mentality is infectious. It pushes the other backs to raise their level too. That's how you build a room that can withstand injuries and still produce. Kyle Shanahan's tone in press conferences has also shifted. He's still got his usual blunt honesty, but there's a calmness, a trust in the process that feels different. He's not sidestepping questions. He's owning expectations. He knows this roster is loaded, but more importantly, he knows they're engaged. That's what wins in this league, not just talent, buy-in, culture, consistency. That's why the Jacob Cowing injury hit so hard, because he was part of that wave. The guys who weren't just on the roster, but were pushing the culture forward. And when a guy like that goes down before he even gets to show what he's really about in pads, it's heartbreaking. He had the kind of off-season coaches dream about. Fast, smart, versatile. He was built for the Shanahan offense, that gadget. Roll the motion guy, the jet sweep threat. It was all lining up for him. But football is cruel sometimes. One wrong step and suddenly your whole trajectory shifts. Hopefully it's a minor setback. Hopefully he's back soon. But hamstrings don't care about hope. They heal slow, and that's just reality. Now with that roster spot in question, the 49ers might have to look elsewhere. Maybe internally. Maybe externally. They've got names on the depth chart, sure. But do they have another Cowing? That's a hard ask. He brought something unique to the table. And now it's on Shanahan and the front office to decide how to recalibrate. But if we've learned anything from this team so far, it's that they're ready to adapt. The mindset is next man up, and they mean it. And make no mistake, there will be more injuries. That's not pessimism. That's just football. Training camp is long. The preseason is brutal. Every rep carries risk. But what matters most is how this team responds. And right now, all signs point to a locker room that's built to handle adversity. They've been there. They've felt the sting of a close loss. In the playoffs, they've sat on the flight home wondering what more they could have done. And now they're attacking the new year like a team with unfinished business. That's why guys like Zhao and Jennings showing up isn't just a feel-good story. It's a microcosm of what's happening across the board. You've got players who could easily prioritize personal business instead choosing team over self. You've got leaders setting the tone. You've got rookies embracing the grind. That's how you change the trajectory of a franchise, not with one blockbuster signing, not with one first-round pick, but with dozens of small decisions every day that add up to something unstoppable. And it's not just the players. The coaching staff is more aligned than ever. Position coaches are sharper. Communication is tighter. There's a rhythm in the way practice is being run that screams championship intent. It's not rushed. It's not chaotic, but it's intense, deliberate. Everything has a purpose. You can tell this staff spent the offseason not just drawing up plays but figuring out how to make camp more efficient, more impactful. Even little things like rotating kicker reps or tracking GPS movement are part of the bigger picture. They're not leaving anything to chance. They know the window is open now. And windows in the NFL don't stay open forever. Contracts expire. Injuries happen. Opportunities vanish. So when you have a group this talented, this hungry, you go all in. The countdown is on. 17 days until the first preseason snap. And while some people will shrug at those games, for this team it's another chance to send a message. Another chance to show the league that last year wasn't the peak, it was the prelude. That the disappointment of falling short didn't break them, it built them. And if training camp continues on this trajectory, we may look back on these July practices as the start of something special, because here's the thing. Championships aren't won in February. They're earned in July and August, in the heat, in the monotony, in the moments when nobody's watching but everything matters. And right now the 49ers are stacking those moments, one after another, with purpose, with unity, with fire. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. San Francisco is buzzing. And not just because of the fog rolling in from the Bay. Over the weekend, star wide receiver Justin Jefferson was spotted arriving at SFO, greeted by what sources describe as a celebratory reception from members close to the 49ers organization and a handful of excited fans. While there has been no official confirmation from either Jefferson's camp or the team, whispers around the league suggest that the former Vikings standout may have inked a deal with the San Francisco 49ers. Though nothing has been made public, insiders claim that Jefferson's surprise arrival in the Bay Area is no coincidence. Some believe that the reigning NFC champions have pulled off the biggest move of the offseason, quietly locking down one of the NFL's most electrifying talents. Images circulating on social media show Jefferson smiling, posing with what appears to be team staff, and even wearing red and gold thumb gear. Coincidence or calculated move? The speculation has only intensified after 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan was seen dining in Palo Alto at a high-end steakhouse on the same night. Jefferson landed reportedly at a table adjacent to the wideout himself. The 49ers front office has declined to comment, with a spokesperson stating, "We have nothing to announce at this time." If true, this move would dramatically shift the dynamics of the NFC, pairing Jefferson with weapons like Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, assuming he stays, Christian McCaffrey, and quarterback Brock Purdy, could create an offensive powerhouse unlike anything seen in recent memory. Of course, there are skeptics. Some suggest the reception was merely personal or even a marketing ploy. But as the NFL rumor mill turns, one thing is clear: where there's smoke in San Francisco, there just might be fire. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like.